Hello and welcome to the Ultra Running Podcast with me, Coach Marshy, Fat Man to Iron Man. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a great week of training. What is it that you've been up to? What training have you been engaged in this week? Hopefully it's all going well for you and you're working hard towards those running goals. So like I always say, please get in contact with us. Let us know your journey. Let us know your stories. It'd be great to hear from you. Get in contact on any of the social media platforms. It would be great to hear from you. So today's episode is a first. It's the first in the series of having guests on our show with us to talk about their running experiences and their passion for running. Today, we welcome the director of a running clothing brand, a passionate runner themselves, and we're excited to introduce you right now. Okay, so let's welcome Craig to the Ultra Running Podcast. So welcome, Craig. We're going to talk you through some questions. You're going to hopefully tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about running as well. So first of all, Craig, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, what you're all about.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. So, my name's Craig. I run my own business called Runr. So we're ultimately a fitness and lifestyle brand for anyone passionate about running. So whether you're a couch to 5K or a marathon runner or a crazy ultra marathon runner, we kind of want people to be able to wear Runr and kind of to showcase their passion for running. So yeah, we started it back in 2016, so nearly 5 years ago. In April it'll be, and it was ultimately just kind of a bit of a hobby. Could we create an identity or a brand just to put on some t-shirts and hoodies? And fast forward sort of 4.5 years, and I'm now full time on it. It's all going a bit crazy and a bit busy at the moment, but it's brilliant. It's great fun.
And obviously we are in the middle of a pandemic, Craig. So what's it like being a business owner at this time?
It's tough. I mean, for myself, I've got a wife and 2 young boys here at home. So like everyone, this last 12 months have been really tough. Like from people have been furloughed, people have lost their jobs. Obviously, there's the health side of things. And I think for us, juggling childcare was a real tricky one, both working full time. But we kind of got into a bit of a routine about splitting who looks after them. So we can, for me, just grab the laptop, go and sit in a dark corner of the house and try and get some quiet time. But I think in the world of running, obviously, you fully know yourself, where gyms have had to close, people have kind of been forced into exercising out and about. So where I'm based in Portsmouth down here on the south coast, and we're 2 roads from the seafront, and from kind of in lockdown 1 at the start of last year, the amount of people exercising was phenomenal. The local council shut the seafront. So instead of just a promenade, you kind of had 2 lanes of traffic that was free for anyone to use. So there was kids on bikes, there was people running and walking and on roller skates and stuff. So the last 12 months for us, we've seen a lot of new people come into Runr because they've taken up running. We've seen a lot of people that knew of us that have come back and have bought products and have got involved in our events. So it's kind of been up and down, but I think we're all looking forward to events and parkrun starting up again soon. So fingers crossed.
So obviously with the absence of parkrun and any sort of running events that are out there, you mentioned obviously people seem to have got more involved in that type of exercise now and taking themselves out for a run. With yourselves, Runr have come up with the Miles for Mind, which started back in May 2020, but now we're here February 21 and it's all going again. Can you sort of elaborate on that and tell us what it's all about? Yeah,
sure. So Miles for Mind, the first year it started was in 2018. So it was an idea that when we started Runr, we knew straight away that people use running as a way of combating their own mental health challenges and the mental health struggles. So what we wanted to do was try and align ourselves with a charity who help people who are finding times tough. So Mind are the biggest mental health charity that work here in England. So what we did is we kind of partnered up with them, and in May, which in the 3rd week in May is Mental Health Awareness Week each year, we thought over the whole of May we'll run a virtual event where people can sign up They can choose a distance to cover within the whole month. And then at the end of the month, they tell us they've completed it and we send them out a medal. So we had about 900 people in the first year back in 2018. And then obviously 2020, which we were kind of a couple of months into the first lockdown, where the events had all been cancelled, where your normal London Marathon, Great South Run, Great North Run had been cancelled and Park Run was on hold. We kind of thought maybe 2,500 people would sign up, and we got 6,500.
Wow.
Which is just phenomenal. It's just, I remember there's only 3 of us here at Runr. There's myself, Matt and Martin. And I remember we were sat on end of April, and we get notifications on our phone every time someone places an order, and it was just going mad. 6,500 people, majority were signing up at the end of April. But I think what people were looking for, and again, we've got Miles to Mind happening again at the moment in February, and it was the same in May last year. People are looking for that challenge. I often go out for a run because I love running, shock horror, and you almost need something to be training towards. I think if you've got an event, if you've got a half marathon or an ultra marathon you're training for, you've got that end date of when the event is. You'll work backwards and you'll put your training plan in place and you'll work out when you're going to do your long runs. And I think at the moment where there's no events for people to aim at, they're kind of looking for that challenge, because otherwise you're kind of just going out for the sake of, I'll go out for a half-hour run. You've not got anything that you're aiming for. So we've raised to date the Miles for Mind running community have raised over £260,000 for Mind over the 4 years of it happening. Yeah, it's something we're really proud to kind of offer the platform for people to come and take part in the event. But last year was pretty big. So then coming into 2021, we thought, rather than just having the one event, we thought, how can we grow the Miles for Mind events? So we've now got 4 this year. So we've got 1 in each season. We've got, as I say, one happening this month as we speak in February, and then we've got 1 in May, 1 in August, and 1 in November. So we've got kind of nice sort of 3 months between each one for people to take part, have a rest afterwards, and then start building up to the next one. But it's phenomenal to be able to kind of host an event like this. And mental health, you guys know how important it is at the moment, how big a talking point it is, and it's great to see people talking about it openly. And I think up until now it's almost not been a taboo subject, but people have not been that comfortable talking about it. And I think just with everything we've all gone through over the past 12 months, I think now people realise how important mental health is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think from an outside perspective, taking part last May, not only did it give our running club something to support each other on, but it helped the people within our running club have a few more discussions back in last May, because we'd signed up as a group kind of to your challenge. And that really gave a platform for, like you said, conversations to take place, which was great for us as a running club. But in terms of me as an individual from the outside, it had all those things that you've just explained. And one of those things was, people love a medal. And the medal was great. It was great to get one. And it was great to actually have that accountability for me as well. It wasn't about the miles run necessarily. It was all about awareness and raising money and that kind of opportunity as, like you said, a platform. That's what you guys did. But it actually gave people training accountability for me as well, which was perhaps lacking, because myself as a coach wasn't there every Wednesday on our running night to check in and see how people were doing. It wasn't quite like that because of lockdown. So it really gave a great platform. And I'm part of February 21 as well. Not going as well as it did last May for me. But we'll leave that and we'll park that for now, because that's more injury based. But if someone wanted to get involved with the future months that are coming up, what do they do? How do they do it?
So if you head to our website, so it's runr, runr.co.uk, we've got if you're on the menu, top left-hand side, there's the virtual run part of our website. And what you can do is you can select the future events. So as I say, we've got the one in May, which is the spring one, and the one in August, which is the summer one, and in November is the autumn one. So we're hoping this year to have probably around 15,000 people take part overall. We're continuing our partnership with Mind, so we're in constant contact with them around just understanding where the money goes, how it's used, trying to look at ways of how we can get more people involved, because ultimately the more people that take part, the more money is raised for Mind, and the more awareness around mental health is kind of generated. And yeah, that's our main aim. It was the main aim from day one when we started the event was around working with Mind and just creating more awareness of what they do.
And I think for me, I'm aware of it, but I'm not sure everyone will be. You guys aren't. You're not in it for money. It's not profit making for you guys. It's all about what you've just said, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, 100% of the profits go to Mind from every event. Yeah, and we stand by that, and we're proud about that fact. And it's, I mean, at the moment we've got people saying, can I walk, can I jog, can I run, can I do it on the exercise bike at home if I've got to isolate? And we're like, it's not about running. Even though we're Runr and we love running, this is about just being active, because we believe that being physically healthy, active and healthy will lead to a better mental frame of mind. So yeah, we're happy to try and get as many people involved as possible.
Brilliant. So in terms of Runr itself, apart from the obvious, where you're selling the merchandise, the clothing, the hats, which, by the way, the winter hats are absolutely brilliant. Apart from that, what is the vision for the company from a running perspective? What's kind of the ethos and from a running point of view?
I think for us, I mean, myself and Matt are the out of the three of us, we're the two really keen runners ourselves. So we often, when we're chatting through ideas or we're thinking about what we can do with Runr, we're both coming at it from a viewpoint of owning the business, but we love running. We just love running as much as anybody that's out on the seafront down here running. So I think for us is we want to continue to have Runr be associated with people that are passionate about running. So as I said before, it doesn't matter whether you're couch to 5K and it's the first time you've ever got up and put some pair of trainers on, or whether you're taking on a marathon or an ultra marathon. I think we're always looking for new ideas, new products, new designs. The virtual runs have been going really well, so we're looking at whether there's opportunities to expand what we're doing going into 2022. Potentially working with other charities, as important as what the work we're doing with Mind. We feel that there could be opportunity to do more with other charities in really important sectors. The charity sector has been hit so hard in the last 12 months that it's great that lots of money and awareness is being raised for Mind, and we'll continue to do that. But if we can try and work with other charity or another group of charities, then we're kind of open to that as well. And I think where we're a really small business, we can actually act quite quickly. We can turn stuff on quite quickly. So we often get ideas thrown at us, and some will stick in the memory bank for later, and others we can almost pick up and run with straight away. So it's great having the flexibility to kind of pick and choose what we do and when we do it.
Brilliant. That sounds exciting, Craig. We'll certainly look forward to seeing how those things develop for sure. So talking more about you now and your kind of running experiences and what you've done, what would you say if you were to pick out a running high in your career of running? What would you say your running high is?
I think for me, I've done 4 marathons. So I've done London twice, and then we really fortunate. We went out to Athens in Greece a couple of years ago and took part in the authentic Athens marathon. So it starts in marathon, which is where the word marathon comes from, and it's obviously 26.2 miles uphill. And I don't say uphill lightly, it's literally like running up a hill for 20 miles, and then finishes in the center of Athens. And that was brilliant because myself and Matt went over and did it. We took our other halves. We took well, Archie at the time we had over there. So we kind of made a bit of a mini holiday out of it. And it's being able to kind of, I guess, I love being able to mix your passion of running. And we kind of had our work hats on, but we were out there for a bit of holiday, basically. I love being able to travel and take part in runs in places that you wouldn't necessarily normally go to. So for me, it was the first time in Athens. I think for Matt as well. And it was brilliant because you were out there. There was a buzz of all the runners getting on the same plane, of getting out. We had an Airbnb in the middle of Athens, and having never been there, it was great to discover the Acropolis and have a wander around and take in the sights. And then the small matter of 26.2, which was
in that heat as well.
The forecast was cloudy and 16 degrees. And after the first 5 miles, which was flat. The sun came out and there was 11 miles uphill. It was just incredible. And Matt fared better on that one than me. I think he sort of dragged me over the line towards the end. But yeah, I mean, it's just great. Taking your family with you and being a part of that is great. So I'm quite to go to Athens and do a marathon where marathon is kind of the original place of the marathon was pretty honoured to be a part of that.
Yeah, no, probably on my bucket list. To be fair, you're maybe the third person that I've met that in the running world that's taken part in that. But yeah, it sounds like you and Matt obviously ran together as well, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, we on that one we ran the first probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles together, and then Matt, because it's quite hilly, it's undulating going up and down. So Matt started to kind of walk up the hills and then run on the flats and the downhill. Whereas I, being my competitive self, thought I'm not going to walk in a marathon, so I try and run up the hills. And then I got to, I don't know what, might have 17 or 18 miles, and I was like, I just cannot continue doing this. And then it got to a point at sort of 23 miles, got to an aid station, and I found we were lucky enough to go to France and do the Riviera Marathon back in 2019, I think it was. And again, that's another awesome run. It starts in Nice and finishes in Cannes, Cannes, Cannes. And it's just 26.2 miles hugging the Mediterranean. And it was as picturesque as it sounds. It was a brilliant day. And myself and Matt ran together the whole way. And at times we helped each other out when one of us was struggling. We're broadly similar pace, which is a real benefit. But yeah, in Athens, I ran off ahead of him thinking, I'm not walking up the hills. And then at some point he just drifts past me looking all fresh and eager. So yeah, he bailed me out at the end of Athens.
Brilliant. We all know those runners that find that sort of thing easy. So, you know,
yeah.
Yeah. So with the highs comes the lows. For you in running, what's kind of the major lows that you've experienced, or the one that stands out for you?
I think the lows is so the other 2 marathons I've done is London, when I've done that twice. And I think that when a race goes to plan, it's brilliant because you put the training in, you might have had a plan. I mean, I've got my calendar up on the wall where I mark off how many miles I've done and stuff. But when I do a marathon, I normally try and do sort of a 12 to 14 week plan. I'm generally not very good at sticking to it because when with kids and work and weather and you just can't be bothered, it's very easy just to skip a run. So I tend to not necessarily put the mileage in. And I did London first time round in 2010 and had a 12-week training plan, roughly stuck to it, but was probably a little bit too, a bit cocky going into the event. And I thought, I sometimes find pacing myself quite difficult. If I want to try and stick to an 8.5 minute mile for a marathon, if I'm feeling good, I'll go quicker. And at the time that's fine. But then as you go through the miles, once you start going to sort of 13, 14 up to 19, 20, and then you've still got another 6.2 to go, you realize you should really have taken it easy back at the sort of 6 mile mark. So the first London Marathon, I was really pleased, and I finished it in 4 hours 15 when I was aiming for roughly that sort of time. But I was absolutely shattered. I remember across the finish, I literally staggered across the finish line, got my medal. It was a blur of being given a goodie bag, of just eating what was ever in it because I was so hungry. And then completely randomly, I heard someone call my name, and I looked over, and a mate was sat on the floor against the railing, looking like how I felt, absolutely wiped out. But yeah, I think from that I've learned that you can never under prepare for a long distance run because they're hard. They're 4, 5, 6 hours worth of running. You need to put in the time in the training to build yourself up and condition yourself. No matter how good a runner you think you are. So yeah, no,
I think anyone who's listening who's done the London Marathon will have had just this vision of coming through that gantry, if you like, on the Mall and then walking towards Horse Guards Parade, and they probably can't tell you what's in between there and getting the tube or whatever they do at the end. It's a bit of a blur. So I can certainly relate to that. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean. In one word, would you say that's quite a common mistake, going out too fast in a marathon?
Yeah, I think that I've heard it mentioned quite a lot. It's that first kind of 6K, 10K. If you know what pace you're going to go at, stick to it. If you feel good, then bank the energy because you're going to need it later. I remember going over Tower Bridge is another iconic part of London where you cross River Thames and you've got the two towers and the blue kind of struts that go between the towers. And on the first marathon in 2010, I didn't remember going across it. And I was so annoyed because I was so head down looking at my watch. It's like, forget what's on your watch to an extent. Just look at the thousands of people that are there cheering you on, the bands that are playing on the corners, the pubs where people are drinking beer at 10:30 and you wish you were there instead of running. It's like, so the second time I did it in 2015, I trained a lot harder. I paced myself better. And I took in the landmarks that I knew I missed first time round. And I did it in a 3:53 second time round, which was brilliant. Still pretty shattered when I crossed the finish line, but I savoured it so much more, and it just made it so much more enjoyable as an event.
So you've unlocked something there, Craig, for me, which I've never admitted, so I'm going to admit it to anyone who's listening. I didn't see Cutty Sark or Buckingham Palace until my 4th marathon, and I remember my other half and a couple of long-term running friends having a little pep talk at the start in Greenwich saying, whatever you do this time, make sure you look at both. And the truth is that I was so concentrated on the mile for Buckingham Palace. You kind of have to look to your left a little bit to notice it, to be fair, but it's pretty big. So somehow I missed that 3 times. And then Cutty Sark, I've got to be honest, I was more focused on the Nando's as you went around the bend there. Not the actual ship in the middle of the road, but, you know, whatever. So, yeah. So that was Craig, the director from Runr. That is the end of part 1 today. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself and you enjoyed the interview so far with Craig. Part 2 will follow on next week. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to head over to my YouTube channel for your running tips and how-to advice on strength and conditioning for runners and how to run your ultra marathons, as well as my own personal training vlog. Please don't forget to give the podcast a review and a share for anyone that you think might like it. And I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that we can meet here again next week for the second part of the interview with Director Craig from Runr.